Blog Talk Radio.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Franchise Interview, where for over 4 years we've been asking the franchipreneurs to one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, and I'm the president of Franchise Interview. And we have a great show today. We're meeting with the Live to Be Healthy franchise opportunity. And Live to Be Healthy Senior Fitness franchise opportunity seeks to inspire older generations to live longer, healthier lives. And that's coming up on segment 2 of Franchise Interview. So stick around because we got a great show.
Are you one of those special people who are willing to go after your dreams and goals? Are you ready to fulfill that dream of owning your own business with the security of a proven brand? The opportunity to take control of your future and own a Rita's Italian Ice franchise is within your reach.
Rita's is seeking success-oriented individuals who are ready to make a change in their life, and Rita's offers unparalleled training and support to assure your success. And did you know the frozen treat industry is a recession-proof industry, and there are Rita's in 23 states currently with 540 stores open. Rita's Italian Ice has been around for 25 years and is listed as a top-performing franchise by the Wall Street Journal.
Now here's the really good part. Rita's Italian Ice is a unique and amazing taste treat. It's smoother than a snow cone, and it combines ice with real fresh fruit. The real fruit adds dramatically to the taste, and it comes in over 40 flavors. The ice and fruit are mixed on site and made fresh daily, and it is delicious.
You'll want to know more about this exciting and successful franchise opportunity. Go to www.ownaritas.com and get all your questions answered. That's www.ownaritas.com to take control of your dreams and future today. You don't want to wait any longer to be a part of this adventure. www.ownaritas.com.
Franchisers, are you looking to reach aspiring entrepreneurs looking to buy a franchise? Are you looking to reach a highly educated audience on franchising? For over 4 years, Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get inside tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising. Check out our weekly franchise radio show, where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys, and our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. Get 3 months of free advertising when you sign up for our 1-year package. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919. That's 610-905-2919.
Need a business loan? Talk to Diamond Financial Services, the experts in franchise financing nationwide. Whether you're looking to start a franchise, acquire an existing franchise, or expand your territory through opening new locations, Diamond Financial stands by your side start to finish. From pre-qualification to packaging and presenting your application to securing a financial commitment and through the loan closing process, Diamond Financial is there. While you're waiting, thousands of others are making their financial dreams come true. Don't wait any longer. Pre-qualify now by completing a confidential, no-obligation financial analysis. Let's face it, traditional banks just aren't in the business of financing small business. At Diamond Financial, we specialize in securing franchise loans from $100,000 to $3 million and equipment leasing up to $150,000. Let us help you get started. Go to www.franchisefunding.net or call 877-508-2274. That's franchisefunding.net, 877-508-2274.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 4 years we've been asking the entrepreneurs who want one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, and I'm the president of Franchise Interviews. And as we were saying earlier, we have a great show today. We're meeting with the Live to Be Healthy franchise opportunity. The Live to Be Healthy Senior Fitness franchise opportunity seeks to inspire older generations to live longer, healthier lives. Their company has been at the forefront of the senior fitness movement since 2008. And working with residents of all shapes and ability levels, the Live to Be Healthy Senior Fitness team has witnessed miraculous social and also physical benefits for elder care residents. We're proud to bring senior fitness services to residential communities, allowing them to support healthier lifestyles for residents. And today we're going to be meeting with Cory Czepa, who is the CEO of the Live to Be Healthy franchise opportunity. So we're excited to have Cory on the show today. Don and I have been working on the schedule for August and September. It's hard to imagine we're saying August and September already. It's like approaching fall. Not to rush things, but we have some interesting shows coming up that I thought you would be interested in. Here's one that we're going to be booking in the next couple weeks, and this happened just recently. Atlanta hosts Business Summit for retiring pro athletes. This is the second annual Professional Athlete Franchise Initiative. It's abbreviated. The acronym is PAFI. Franchise Summit brings former pro athletes and those in their twilight years together with high-level executives of leading brands in the trillion-dollar franchise industry, which currently employs over 18 million people and is one of the fastest-growing sectors in the U.S. economy. Don and I have referenced dozens of examples since doing the show over the last 4 years. For example, you have George Foreman of the No Fat franchise opportunity, and celebrities just do wonders when it comes to franchising. So with the NFL lockout now in its fourth month and impending NBA lockout, the financial problems facing the sports industry are being magnified. One issue that continues to plague the world of sports and what happens to athletes when their pro sports careers come to an inevitable end. Financial literacy is a challenge for many ex-pro athletes. More than 60% of retired basketball players encounter financial problems in 5 years, and 78% of football players face money issues in 2 years. That notwithstanding, there's also success stories, such as the all-time greats from Magic Johnson, Venus Williams, making wise investments and enjoying their post-retirement years with successful franchise businesses. So this is going to be exciting. This, again, is something different. And one of the benefits, of course, when buying into a franchise opportunity is being part of that network. You know, when you have a celebrity sports person, was kind of like the spokesperson for your company. I mean, again, that's something that like a local like Sal's Pizzeria just is unable to do, you know. So that's going to be an interesting show. So we're going to be booking that one in the next couple of weeks. Here's some more that we have coming up. Penn Station, fast casual East Coast style sub-sandwich chain that has about 225 restaurants in 12 states. Projections call for about 25 restaurants in 2011 with 325 total restaurants open by the end of 2013. They serve hot and cold subs, fresh, hand-cut, made-to-order French fries, hand-squeezed lemonade, and more. These are the shows that kill Don and I because typically we're starving after the show, particularly if I haven't eaten breakfast that particular day. So Juice It Up, we're going to have on the show in the next several weeks as well. First launched in 1995, Juice It Up is a franchise smoothie and juice bar chain with more than 90 locations. The company anticipates opening between 6 to 10 new locations by the end of 2012. Fresh to Order, this is F2O, is an innovative franchise restaurant concept that fuses quality American cuisine, gourmet fresh ingredients, and fast service to an incredible food served in less than 10 minutes for around $10. The company currently has 6 locations, and projections call for signing at least 5 multi-unit franchisees in 2011, with total commitments of 15 to 20 restaurants. Here's another interesting one. Great Play first opened in Stamford, Connecticut in 2006 by fitness buffs Gile and Keith Comey. The franchise gym concept for kids offers fun-filled motor skill, sports skill, and physical education classes for children ages 6 months through 5th grade, as well as birthday parties. There are currently 7 locations with 4 gyms opening soon. About 20 locations are expected by the end of 2012. That's just some of them that we're going to be booking over the next several months, August and September. So I've got an exciting schedule coming up, and check franchise interviews on our upcoming show schedule page for more dates. So our last show, we met with Jeff Jervik, President and CEO of Fitness Together and Elements Therapeutic Massage. One of the things I liked most about this particular show was Jeff seemed to be born into franchising. I mean, he's been in franchising quite a long time. He kind of got involved in fast food for a long time. You know, it was Krispy Kreme donuts and pizza and places like that. And then he had a shift in getting into I guess you could say, the fitness industry. He says it was 3 years later when Jervik came to the realization that despite the temporary satisfaction of pizza or donuts might bring for someone, he wasn't changing anyone's lives. He wanted to help people, which brought him to the wellness industry with Fitness Together and Elements. Helping people lose weight and relieve pain would actually better people's lives, he concluded. Now, one of the things we've emphasized, and we've said this on several of the past shows, is that the leadership of a franchise organization is very important. How much experience does this person have in actually running or steering the ship? So one of the things you certainly want to take into consideration, they're interviewing you, but of course you want to interview them as well. Here's something from, this is Avon resident business owner credits Fitness Together nutrition program with new lifestyle. I thought this was interesting. It came from, Avon, Connecticut, March 22nd, 2011. And I'll see if I can get to the whole thing because there's a couple clips we want to play today, kind of interesting from our favorite authors. When local resident Don Long started going to Fitness Together in Avon, Connecticut, it was to exercise. What he got in return was an 80-pound weight loss and a lifelong bonus, a lesson on how to eat. Fitness Together has built a national reputation for delivering one-on-one professional workouts with a professional trainer. But new to the business, which is being implemented at Fitness Together studios nationwide, is a complimentary program called Nutrition Together. Don Long, who struggled to lose weight in the past, found his answer with both. He hadn't joined a stereotypical gym. I was intimidated by gyms, said Long. With all my focus on working too much and not eating healthy, my priorities were out of alignment and I was overweight and out of shape. In April of 2010, Long chose Fitness Together to help with his weight loss because of a private one-on-one training efforts offered to clients. With the help of personal trainers Billy Pratt and Tim St. Pierre, Long lost 69 pounds by December of 2010 when he began to plateau. It was getting harder for him to lose weight, said Pratt. So in an effort to help boost his weight loss and keep him on track, I recommended he start the Nutrition Together program. Modeled after the same one-on-one approach used for Fitness Together's personal training, Nutrition Together provided clients nutritional guidance in tandem with fitness training to help achieve and maintain a healthy lifestyle. The program is designed to offer sensible solutions and a common-sense approach to nutrition. It's a very interesting concept. I mean, the article goes on, and again, you can I was in one of the local Connecticut papers. But again, it just see the difference that you're actually making in people's lives. And I think this was one of the things, in looking back on Jeff's story, and the reason he got involved in this is the type of change that he's making on people's lives, So pretty interesting. Today we have an interesting couple of clips. In doing the show, Franchise Interviews, it's amazing the opportunities that Don and I have had. If you've asked me 5 years ago when we started the show, who I would like to most interview, I would have told you Michael Gerber. And since then, we've interviewed him 3 times on the show. And every time we have Michael on the show,
their ratings always shoot through the roof. Our top-rated shows, we've done about 230 shows to date, and I think the top 2 shows is 1 Michael Gerber and 2 Michael Gerber, and it might be number 4 as well. So I'm going to have to see who's between 3 and 4. But he's just fantastic. And when we had him on the show, he was talking about his book, The Famous E-Myth. And if you're new to looking at franchising, I strongly suggest you pick up the book, The E-Myth Revisited. Even more so, I hope Michael's not listening today because he's going to kill me, but my favorite book is Awakening the Entrepreneur Within. I love that book. It's become my favorite all-time book, and I recommend it to all aspiring entrepreneurs. And, Michael talks about the book on our show, and again, in our Great Quotes in Franchising podcast. So here's a clip of what Michael said talking about both books.
Hi, everyone. This is Marty McDermott
podcast.
from Franchise Interviews, and welcome to another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising, where each podcast you get to hear a great quote in franchising. Don and I have been hosting Franchise Interviews now for almost 2 years, with 100 shows under our belt, and during that time frame, we've had some incredible quotes from the guests that have been on our show. If you're a frequent listener to our weekly radio show, then you know what fans Don and I are of the great Michael Gerber, author of the very successful E-Myth Revisited and Awakening the Entrepreneur Within. What's even more amazing is how often Michael's name has come up from our guests in the past 2 years. So you're going to hear from the great Michael Gerber in just a moment. And for the first time on Blog Talk Radio, Franchise Interviews is giving franchisors a unique opportunity to sponsor our weekly radio show. You can have a professionally recorded commercial run on our live as well as archive shows. And here's a quick message from our sponsor, and then again the great Michael Gerber. So enjoy.
Franchise Interviews. For over 2 years now, Franchise Interviews has been giving you an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship.
Through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising.
And our weekly franchise radio show, where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisors, franchisees, franchise authors, experts, and attorneys.
And our free franchise newsletter, which is a must-read for anyone looking to buy a franchise.
And don't forget to listen to our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919.
That's 610-905-2919.
Which, by the way, I'm now reading again for the second time. I recommend everybody out there, it's been a while since they've read the E-Myth, to read it again. It's really a great little refresher because people seem to forget about things over time, Michael.
I've got guys, I swear, Don, who tell me they pull out the E-Myth Revisited every year. Mm-hmm. One gentleman I spoke to, the founder of an extraordinary company, 1-800-GOT-JUNK, mm-hmm. who's a franchisor.
Right.
He credits the E-Myth with the creation of his company, and he credits the E-Myth with the continued vitalization of his company and the growth of his company. They now have a few more than 300 franchisees around the world. The guy is less than 40. He's the CEO of this company. He started by driving a truck, picking up junk, read the book, read the E-Myth Revisited, and suddenly saw the light. And the product of that is a company which last year did $147 million in gross revenue and has the expectation of reaching $1 billion in revenue in the next 8 years. So the man's on path, and he takes the E-Myth out every year and reads it again and insists that every one of his management team reads the book. And in fact, I'm the keynote at his annual event in March. So I'll be in Vancouver addressing 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Right. The show we had last week, Michael, with the CEO and president of a franchise opportunity called Desert Moon, Gary Okigrasso, he spoke about you for like 10 minutes during the show. I mean, it's just amazing the impact that you've had in the franchise community. I mean,
Well,
your
thank
name comes
you.
up every other show.
Thank you. And, I don't know 90% of these people, so I hear.
Well, he's going to be happy
what
this
guy says, and this guy says, and that guy. It's really quite extraordinary to me because I don't know these people.
Exactly. I can't imagine, what kind of fuel you have. I mean, I don't know how you go to bed at night, Michael. I mean, changing the story you told about, the young gentleman, being depressed and stuff like that. I mean, the kind of fuel that you must get from that kind of situation must be incredible for you.
It is. It's absolutely extraordinary, and life is simply an array of infinite options, and they're continually showing up.
Absolutely.
They're constantly showing up. I can't imagine how anybody could feel limited or deprived of opportunity when there is so much more opportunity than any single one of us could possibly deal with. And I see it every single day in my mind. There's one, there's one, there's one. Why doesn't anybody do that? Why doesn't anybody do that? It's extraordinary when you begin to experience the entrepreneur within, and anybody, any single person on the face of this earth can experience it if they begin the process right. And that's what I'm committed to.
Absolutely. And the title is great, too, Michael. How you added, in addition to how ordinary people create extraordinary companies without any experience to guide them. You were one of those people. I think you referenced Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Michael Dell. I mean, all these guys really didn't have this significant experience in business. It was all based on a dream or their imagination.
Exactly. They had no experience in business. Bill Gates wasn't a business guy.
Right.
Bill Gates didn't work for a living. Bill Gates went to Harvard and then dropped out. Michael Dell didn't have any experience when he started his business. Nobody, no great entrepreneur has necessarily had any business experience at all. They simply imagined a result that they saw was absolutely needed in the world, and then they invented the answer to that problem in a business. Well, anybody can do that.
Right.
And in the book, Awakening the Entrepreneur Within, I take you step by step through the golden process through which any company can be started from scratch in your garage. And I'm essentially saying, if your car is parked in your garage, move it out and start a business.
Exactly, absolutely.
It seems like, Michael, top entrepreneurs are never satisfied. I mean, in Chapter 3 of your book, I thought it was great. You talk about you woke up one day and you had nothing to do. Personally, I mean, that's my dream, to wake up one day and have nothing to do, but just for a day before I get back to business. But, of course, yourself being a top entrepreneur, you just weren't satisfied with that. You had to, take that next step and do something great again, and that's what you did, obviously, with this book.
Yeah, well, and you got to understand, when I say I had nothing to do, I had everything to do, but I didn't have to do it.
Right.
In other words, I didn't have to go out and earn a living anymore.
True.
But I do. I didn't have to go out and speak anymore, but I do continuously. I didn't have to go out and write another book. My books are among the top 5 business books ever published in the world. E-Myth Revisited sells more books every year than it sold before. Wow. It's the most extraordinary phenomenon. So I didn't have to do anything. There's nothing that caused me to go out and create the dreaming room other than my fertile imagination. And I'm simply saying, what an extraordinary place to live in the imagination. Because
you can actually hear that whole interview if you go to franchiseinterviews.com and just go to our search engine or go to franchises listed alphabetically and go to Michael Gerber. He has his own page. Again, we've interviewed him 3 times up to this point, and he's just incredible. I can listen to that interview over and over again. So why don't we do this? I see our guest, Cory, has just called in, so we'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more franchise interviews.
Okay, you've got my attention.
It's a rare event in the world of franchising when an opportunity comes your way that can and will thrive in almost any economic environment. It's here, and its name is Big Mouth Advertising.
Big Mouth.
BMA is a leader in the exciting world of mobile media advertising. Why is mobile media advertising able to defy the economic cycles? The answer is obvious. In times of economic weakness, advertising is crucial for survival as the consumer dollar is scarce and the competition fierce. What is mobile media? It's the newest and fastest growing segment in the advertising world. Mobile media brings the message directly to the consumer. Mobile media goes to the consumer in traffic, where he eats and where he plays. It quite simply cannot be turned off or thrown out. And when you join the Big Mouth team as a franchisee, you are joining the best. The Big Mouth advantage is simple and successful. We invest in a strong infrastructure and in great people. As a franchisee, you have access to this entire system, including telemarketing, sales maximization, general and administrative support, design and creative services, even billing and collection services. All you need is a mobile media vehicle, a driver, and the willingness to create a financially sound and limitless business for yourself. There are no long-term leases to sign, no expensive build-outs, no office personnel to hire. You will be part of the Big Mouth advertising community and share its entire website and reception services, as well as its complete back-office services. This virtual office guarantees you the freedom to close those sales that will make you a success. We are so proud of our successes that we have voluntarily disclosed our revenue statements. Now, how many other franchises are doing that? Even in these historically rough financial times, Big Mouth Advertising has become a dominant force in the mobile media industry. Join the Big Mouth team and take the first step toward financial freedom. Please call Ron at 888-98-GO-BIG. That's 888-98-GO-BIG. Big Mouth!
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Franchise Interviews, where for over 4 years we've been asking the franchise entrepreneurs who own one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, and I'm the president of Franchise Interviews. And as we were saying earlier, we have a great show today. We're meeting with the Live to Be Healthy franchise opportunity. And Live to Be Healthy Senior Fitness franchise opportunity seeks to inspire older generations to live longer, healthier lives. We have the pleasure of meeting with Cory Czepa. Hey, Cory, how you doing today?
Good. Yourself, Steve?
I'm doing well, Cory. Thank you. Cory, we always like to ask our guests where they're calling from this morning to get an idea of what the weather is there today.
Calling from Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's actually a little cooler than normal.
Okay, good. That's same here in Pennsylvania. Yeah, this is traces of fall. You have an interesting story. Don and I have been, studying you guys, and we think you're in a very interesting industry. I suspect you have a story as far as what you were doing before starting up and coming to Live to Be Healthy. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I guess this stemmed back about 12 years ago when I started training at a big health club that was nationwide. Mm-hmm. And after about 5 years of learning a lot about training, at that time, my wife and I decided to move on and pursue one of our passions and own our own business. And so we started our own in-home personal training business. And then quickly we worked hand in hand with an equipment company, which means when a person went to a retail store and bought equipment, we went out and had personal trainers and showed the person how to use the equipment. And then about 5 years ago, we bought a health club, a small health club. And during that time, I still had in the back of my mind the passion that I wanted to pursue, which is working with seniors. And so it took me 1.5 to 2 years to figure out the exercise programming for them.
Right.
And so about 4 years ago, I actually started the Live to Be Healthy company. And we've been a franchise now for about 1.5 years.
Wow, that's fantastic. I have an appreciation for your story, Cory. My dad, who suffers from Parkinson's, and he's up there in age, he has a gym in his community, and quite frankly, he doesn't like to go to it because he simply doesn't know how to work the equipment. It's very intimidating for him, So, when I was telling my parents about this particular type of service, I mean, they were just fascinated with it, So,
growing up, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Growing up, when I was in high school, I noticed that back in those days, there was really no exercise program or no room like what you're talking about. And so that's where it really stems from, is seeing these seniors when they would move into a nursing home to dwindle away pretty fast. And so nowadays, they're starting to get these nice rooms with equipment, but like you said, they're scared to use it. It's very intimidating.
Exactly.
And so what we do, we take a different approach. We actually have a certified trainer that comes in 3 days a week and brings their own bands and tubing, so they don't have the huge equipment that they can get intimidated with.
Yeah, I think that's important because simplicity is important, particularly to that group. I mean, they don't come from the technological generation where there's all numbers and everything like that. So when I found out about your opportunity, I said these guys get it. How do you describe your system to someone, Cory? Like if you guys were at like a big franchise show and someone came up to your booth and said, okay, well, what do you guys do? What do you typically say to them?
Well, we work at senior communities, so you have no overhead, and so you don't have to buy a space or anything. And we work with all levels, skilled nursing, memory care, assisted living, independent living, anything 55 and up. And we test the residents every 3 months on very specific deals, which is balance, upper and lower body strength, and also stamina. And I guess the driving force is the balance, where whenever we go to a senior community, they talk to us about falls. And that's a major contributor of a person leaving their community. And so with normal numbers for us, our balance increase is over 100% is normal for an individual when we're there for 3 months. And this, to be honest with you, is our bread and butter. This is what proves that our program works. And so that's our elevator kind of advertisement.
Exactly.
But for us, we also, our franchise is a little different than others, to where whenever they buy a franchise, they own it exclusively, so they have no competitors right next to them because they buy a specific territory. And we have a very targeted franchise system, which I believe is something that really encourages a person to grow their business, not just to maybe have it as an investment.
Right, absolutely. And there's a lot of benefits to this whole thing. I mean, it's not just about exercise either, I guess, Cory. I mean, there is some social aspect to it as well, would you say?
Yeah, I guess that's probably one of the biggest testimonies we get, is that now the resident is out and about and actually talking to their neighbors and having a good time laughing. And then we find out that after the class, now they're starting to do other things, other activities together, to where before they may have just sat in their room or taken a nap in their room or watched TV and not gotten out and about. So,
yeah, absolutely.
I guess for me, that's one of the best aspects of the program that I did not even think that it would do.
Wow, that's interesting.
Being a trainer for so long, all I really wanted to see was results. And now when people give us testimonies, and half of them are about socialization, I guess that's something that something good that came out of it that I didn't even think that would happen.
That's fantastic. This industry is amazing. I mean, it seems like it keeps getting bigger and bigger. I mean, are there any numbers on the industry, Cory? I mean, again, I know the numbers keep changing.
The health and wellness industry, to me, it seems like we're in two industries. The health and wellness industry is the biggest industry in the world. If it isn't in the world, it's predicted to be the biggest in the world in the next few years. And, of course, the baby boomer market or industry is one of the most important markets to be in. I mean, right now we have, for franchises, we have no competitors in these industries. The only competitors that we may have that I don't include as competitors are the community may have an activity director that heads an exercise class, which we're totally different than they are. They do a lot of chair exercises where we do a lot of standing, balancing, hallway exercises. And if we have a meeting with the administrator and with the activity director in the same room, the activity director is ecstatic to get us on board so they don't have to worry about that. But, yeah, the health and wellness industry, ever since I've started personal training, they were even predicting back when I was in college that it was going to be the biggest industry in the world, and it's starting to be that.
Oh, absolutely. I would say it's a field that, Don and I were talking before the show, and we categorize this as like a feel-good type of franchise opportunity as well, I suspect, for people who are looking to, there's so many opportunities out there, and there's certain franchises where, let's say, like it's a transmission franchise and, someone has to get a new transmission. Well, the customers aren't typically happy about that, but this is one of the things I think that is really, you make money, but you feel good at the end of the day, would you say?
Correct. If you don't have a passion to help others, then this probably isn't the right business for you.
Right.
I've dealt with people before that it in other businesses that it was just a business, and you can see that right when you talk to them. As soon as you see them that day, that it's just a business for them. They don't wake up and say, "Hey, I get to go out and do my business. I get to go out and help others and feel good about it and the community."
Exactly. What's been the most interesting thing that's happened to you since starting this whole thing, Cory? Anything stand out?
That's a loaded question. We see so I think about it, and I think about it week in and week out, and just seeing all the improvements and hearing the hundreds of testimonies that we have, and there's some pretty phenomenal testimonies, but the ones that probably really catch me are the ones that, when you're talking to them, they say, "Now I can comb my own hair. Yeah. Now I can put on my own shoes." And they have tears in their eyes when they're telling you this. So, and then their family members there too, and they have tears in their eyes telling you. So you feel good after you walk away, but you want to keep helping them more and more to where they can do more than just put on their shoes or comb their hair or brush their teeth. So that's the thing. I think it's a loaded question, but I think that's the best thing that I can say.
Oh, and I would agree with you too. Again, with a dad who suffers from Parkinson's, it's difficult for him now to do things like, again, comb his hair and brush his teeth, and that you're right. That is a big deal to someone, when they can do those things, and when it's taken away, or they struggle with it, it does. It becomes a problem. It seems so small, but it's to them, it's really the whole world. So I would agree with you. Exactly.
We take everything for granted. And even a person that may have a health issue like Parkinson's, exercise helps that. There's studies out now that does show that exercise helps pretty much any kind of health issue that a person may have.
It's at every meeting he goes to. That's always like the theme. It seems like is exercise seems to help. And I've noticed, when he does walk or any type of exercise he does, he always seems to be a little better, a little sharper. So. Yeah, I think that's important. So what kind of characteristics do you look for in your franchisees, Cory?
Well, I guess what we kind of look for now, after learning a little bit, is a person that truly wants to own their own business and work on a day-to-day basis, and a person that wants to make a difference in not just their community, but also the world. A business-minded person, a person that has a great personality, a real go-getter, and maybe even computer literate. All those things I think really makes a good franchisee for us. And to be honest with you, if a person for any franchise, I think that's what I would be looking for in a franchisee too. But the person has to buy into the model. We do have a step-by-step process that they can follow, and it is a business in a box, truly. We do give them so many materials and help along the way, but they have to be willing to put the time and energy into growing their own business. A lot of people do have in the back of their mind, I want to own my own business so I don't have to work on Fridays.
Right, exactly.
Well, that may not
absolutely.
happen right away.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's so true. So what's the training like when someone decides that I say, okay, I've bought into this franchise system? How does the training work from there?
I think it's sleek, but it's very comprehensive. We give them so much, and I cannot emphasize that enough. We have all the products and services. We call it Mach GT. It's something with speed that Live to Be Healthy offers. 2-day training, webinars, conference calls. We go out to their business, and we actually help them with the initial meetings for 2 to 3 days. We schedule the meetings ahead of time. We do, not them, so they don't have to worry about that. We do ongoing mock phone calls and mock meetings and so forth. I mean, it's a 3-page list that we actually do, and it'll keep growing as we keep growing the business.
I imagine.
So and also you have to include the website information that they are able to direct to potential people for them too.
Right, absolutely. So what's a typical day like when you're a franchisee to Live to Be Healthy? What is that like?
Well, the franchisee has to be willing to either call the administrators at these communities or stop by and meet with the administrators. When they have existing classes going on, they have to be willing to visit the existing classes to make sure the classes are going as expected. Keep in mind, the trainer that is at this site, this community for them, is the face of them. Because for most franchisees, they're not going to be the trainer. The way we have it set up in most parts is that the franchisee is the business owner. They go and they do these meetings, and once they get a contract signed with the community, then what they do is they have a trainer come in and follow our programs. But also I want to throw in there that if, let's say, a trainer goes on vacation and the franchisee does not have a backup trainer, then the franchisee goes and actually does the class. So the franchisees also do get certified too. We have a senior certification that they would also get also. So that's the daily life. I mean, it's not real hard. It's actually something that I really love waking up and doing.
It's interesting. So what advice would you give, because you sound like an entrepreneur, Cory, what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs who are looking to buy a franchise? This is the majority of our listeners. What would you say to them?
Well, first off, I'd like to say just to make sure that it's a market in the industry that is growing and possibly be expected to be bigger than it is today. And in this case, our franchise fits both of them.
Yes, it does.
A person they have to have the passion, not just a business for them. They should care about what they're doing, wake up each and every day knowing that they're going to be making a difference, not just for themselves but also for others. They do their homework before they buy a franchise to make sure it's a good match for them.
Right.
Also remember, they're not just working for a corporation, but for themselves. So their success is tied directly to their efforts. So that's for any franchise or any entrepreneur looking to buy a franchise. Those are the things that they should be thinking about in my eyes.
Yeah, no, it was well said. So what are your plans for the future? I mean, how big would you guys like to get, Cory? I mean, what do you envision? Like if I said to you, where do you see yourself 5 years down the road? Well,
right now we're a wellness company, but in the future we want to be a more broader wellness company. We expect we have 230 regions throughout the whole U.S., and we expect in the next 2 to 3 years to be in all 50 states. We also would like to start offering in the future more than just fitness to the seniors. We'd also like to offer chiropractic care, rehab, nutrition, help the developmentally disabled, do some home care services and so forth. So we'd be expanding that way too. But also, once we have a good foundation with all that, we'd like to possibly go abroad also.
Wow. That's fantastic. It sounds exciting. And, again, I think you guys are right place, right time, right industry. You know, I'm a big fan of this industry. What's the best way for our listeners to get more information on becoming a franchisee, Cory? Are there any websites they can go to, any numbers that they should call?
Yes, they can go to www.live, L-I-V-E, the number 2, the letter B as in boy, healthy, spelled out Healthy, HealthyTM.com. And at the bottom of that page, they will see Franchise Community. If they click on Franchise Community, they can see exactly what our franchisee can get and how they can contact us.
That's fantastic. And I want to thank you again, Cory. You've been a fantastic guest, and we're going to keep our eye on you guys, and we'd love to have you back next year if you like.
Thank you. That'd be great. You have a great day.
That's fantastic, Cory. Thanks so much for coming on the show, and we'll see you soon.
Okay, bye now.
So that was great. What we're going to do here is we'll take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to hear a clip from the great Warren Greshus.
On the cover of a matchbook, no red, please forgive what I have done.
Franchise Interviews. For over 4 years, Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get inside tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising. Check out our weekly franchise radio show, where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys. And don't forget to listen to our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919. That's 610-905-2919.
Well, I want to thank Cory Czepa again, CEO of the Live to Be Healthy franchise opportunity. I think that's a great franchise system, and again, I love that particular industry. Don and I are both big fans of that one. So what we're going to do now is hear a clip from the great Warren Greshus, and if the name Warren Greshus is not familiar to you, he is in the Hall of Fame of speakers. He's I compare him to a Tony Robbins kind of guy. He's just really incredible, one of my favorite speakers, and author of the best damn sales book ever. But on this particular segment, Warren was talking about entrepreneurship to our listeners, and I thought his advice was brilliant.
Hi, everyone.
So
this is Marty McDermott from Franchise Interviews, and welcome to another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising, where each podcast you get to hear a great quote in franchising. You know, Don and I have been hosting Franchise Interviews. This week is going to be 2 years and 100 shows, and during that time frame, we've had some incredible guests and quotes on our show. Today you're going to get to hear from, I think, one of the best motivational speakers in the world, Mr. Warren Greshus. And Warren talks about the importance of planning ahead and insurance. And for our very first time on our partnership with Blog Talk Radio, Franchise Interviews is now giving franchisors the opportunity to sponsor some upcoming radio shows. So once again, Mr. Warren Greshus, after a word from our sponsor, and we'll see you again soon with another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising from Franchise Interviews. Take care, everyone.
Franchise Interviews. For over 2 years now, Franchise Interviews has been giving you an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship.
Through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising.
And our weekly franchise radio show, where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisors, franchisees, franchise authors, experts, and attorneys.
And our free franchise newsletter, which is a must-read for anyone looking to buy a franchise.
And don't forget to listen to our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919.
That's 610-905-2919.
Like insurance and things like that?
Yeah, Warren, one of the areas you address when talking about entrepreneurship is the importance of disability insurance, health savings accounts, and health insurance. I know my father-in-law was had his own insurance business in New York City, and he always talked about the importance of disability insurance. So maybe talk about those couple things a little bit for entrepreneurship.
Absolutely. You know, the thing about disability insurance, a couple of things about it. First, it's a must. It must if you're going to own your own business. Remember, one of the big problems with owning your own business as opposed to working for a company is that you don't have a safety net. You know, when you work for somebody else, especially when you work for a large company, they're going to supply you with health insurance. They're going to supply you with disability policy. They're also probably going to supply you with a small life insurance policy. But the second you leave that company, all that stuff is gone. and you're really going to need that disability insurance. And God forbid something happens to you and you're unable to work. Essentially, you're out of business. Well, disability insurance is going to give you an income. Now, remember something about disability insurance. Here's the important thing to remember. You cannot get disability insurance if you do not already have an income. And if you're first starting your own business, you're not going to have an income. So what I did was I knew I was going to go into my own business. So while I was working for somebody else and was making an income, I started buying disability insurance.
Right.
And so
yeah.
while you're working, you must, the whole thing about starting a business, if you're not planning ahead before you get into that business, don't go into business. That's why I saved my money. That's why I bought disability insurance. I had disability insurance when I went into business because I knew once I started for the first few years I wasn't going to be able to buy any more because I didn't have an income. I wasn't paying myself.
Right.
Now, so when you're working, buy as much as you – if you know you're going to go into your own business, if you have any desire or plans to do it, buy as much as you can. Insurance companies will only give you as much as your income allows. You can't buy as much as you want. They judge it according to the amount of income you have coming in. Now, once my speaking business started to take off, and every time my income rose, I bought more disability insurance.
Right.
I got a ton of disability insurance. God forbid anything ever happens to me, I've got a nice income coming in every single month. Now, once I hit 65, I'm not going to need it anymore. And they're not going to give it to me anymore either. The other thing about health savings accounts, as a small business owner, you're going to get really destroyed by health insurance. The premiums are monstrous. The costs are ridiculous, but you got to have it. You can't afford to get sick, and you can't afford to let hospital and doctor bills put you out of business.
Right.
For years, I had health accounts, health insurance that were killing me. But, when the health savings accounts came out, I realized, and I went to somebody, I always had a good insurance agent. That's another thing. There's a lot of things you should skimp on as a small business owner. Watch your pennies. Watch your overhead. Things like long-distance telephones, cell phone plan, all that sort of stuff. Overhead, watch it. But the one thing you don't want to skimp on is expert advice.
Right.
You got to have a good lawyer, a good accountant, and a good insurance agent. Those people, don't worry about paying them. If you're going to, don't look to skimp on an accountant, a lawyer, or an insurance agent because you're going to end up with a crummy one. And a crummy one is going to cost you more than what you're paying out. So get good people. I have a great agent, and he advised me on the health savings accounts, found me someone to work with, and now I have a health savings account for my business. It's a low premium, high deductible plan with great tax deductibility in it. It's the greatest tool for a very small business. And I'm a big believer in that. You should also have life insurance. When you're in your own business, you want to protect your family, you need life insurance. But I cannot emphasize enough planning ahead and buying disability while you're still working and making a good income before you start your business, because then at least you're giving yourself some sort of safety net. Don't allow catastrophic things beyond your control to put you out of business.
Right. Such an important point you bring up, especially something like disability insurance. No one's going to think of that. No one thinks of themselves as getting sick. Everyone's trying to stay positive, starting a new business, but you got to set yourself up across the board starting a business, just not things like this, putting together a business plan and calculating how long you can go, before you make a salary. And
I'll tell you something. You're more likely to get hurt than you are to die.
Right.
So disability insurance is very important.
So that was a great Warren Gresham. You can actually hear Warren. We've had him on our show twice. If you go to franchiseinterviews.com, and he's just fantastic. So I want to thank everyone for listening, and go to franchiseinterviews.com, go franchise.com, franchisefunding.net, and we'll see everyone next week with another great show. Thanks, everyone.